Wait for him to walk because you just do that in the middle of a show. So please give it up and open your minds and listen very carefully, very, very carefully. Please listen to Andrew Fehrenbach.
Okay, so the following is a little bit of a history lesson, but don't worry, it's not that dull. So, is there anyone from Britain in the audience? Wow, okay, just me then. So I'm guessing none of you have heard of Sir Walter Raleigh. Also not essential. Anyway, quick background. Basically, Sir Walter Raleigh was an explorer, a scoundrel, and a guy who was knighted by the Queen. And he spent a lot of time visiting America when he wasn't setting fire to Spaniards. And he would bring back fantastical treasures to Queen Elizabeth to entertain and amuse her, and generally make himself look awesome. So he brought back the potato, a magical and revolutionary crop from the fantastical lands of America. And so yes, picture him turning up at Queen Elizabeth's court. It's like, "My queen, I have brought forth the potato." "Oh, but good sir, whatever is it?" It's like, "It is a tuber. Don't worry, I have a stove on standby and some oil, and I'm going to slice those puppies up, and in 15 minutes you're going to be amazed." "Whoa, amazing, amazing." So things went well, and she said, "Oh, you have to go back and bring some more wonderful things." And so he did. What did Sir Walter Raleigh bring back the next time? The answer is tobacco. Yes, just like Tara doesn't want to give that up forever, I respect. I didn't have the willpower to start smoking, but that's another story. Anyway, so Sir Walter Raleigh, he went over to the New World and he brought back tobacco. And you'd think that's simple enough. I mean, yes, a lot of blame on Sir Walter Raleigh's head. But, quick way back, is that tobacco wasn't originally smoked. Originally, shamans would basically grab a whole bunch of tobacco even, and they would stick it in a pot and boil it and boil it and boil it. And they would concentrate it down into sort of a blob. And then, I bet, well, maybe you can't see where this is going, they'd stuff it up their bottoms. I mean, it seems so obvious. I mean, I can just imagine the herbalists of that time. It's like, "Okay, everybody, line up, it's time for herbalism. So everyone grab your plants, bend on over, and just, ram them on up there." "Why are there only 19 of you?" Because one of the guys stuck a cactus up his bottom." "Oh, yes, the funeral's later today." Anyway, so... but I know I have limitations. I know I'm a lousy cook, and I have spilled and burned and destroyed various meals, but never ever has food ended up my bottom. I mean, I've never accidentally just had a toasty just gone, no. So, what scenario? How could someone discover this by mistake? I mean, some guy spends, the better part of an hour boiling a plant down to a blob, and he's looking at it. Does he think to take a bite out of it? No, instead he just thinks it should go in the exit. I tried to imagine the scenario where this actually comes about, and I imagined, okay, what if there was a tribal leader, and he was losing his temper at the cook and said, "If you make one more lousy dessert, I'm going to take that dessert and stuff it up your bottom." And by unhappy coincidence, the cook said, "Don't you worry, Your Highness. I think you're going to be surprised with this one. It's called tobacco pudding." And then, they suddenly did this, and they took so much nicotine into their bodies, they started hallucinating and seeing their grandparents. And rather than thinking, "We're not going to do that again," they thought, "Genius! You can see the ancestors!" And so this became popular. Everyone was stuffing tobacco up their bottoms. But then, in a few intervening years before Sir Walter pulled up again, they thankfully realized perhaps we should smoke that stuff instead of stuffing it up our bottoms. Which, for Sir Walter, is probably for the best. Because I can imagine his meeting with Queen Liz would have done a bit not so well if he turned up at court and going, "My queen, I have brought forth the tobacco plant." And he's like, "Oh, what is it, Sir Walter?" "Well, it's a wonderful herb. I've got a stove here. I'm going to boil it for 45 minutes. If you could just bend over and remove your bloomers." Oh, quicker than you can say off with his head, he would be gone. That's my expectation. Anyway, so... But when I was actually researching this routine, because I'd heard the story about the tobacco up the bottom, and I thought, right, I should find some empirical sources for this. And I made a rather unexpected discovery. Oh, you're very good health. And I found out that it wasn't just tobacco up the bottom that was an interesting use for tobacco, because time was in old London town, there was a big problem that if people fell into the Thames River, not just because it was so dirty, that they would get cold, they would drown, and then what are we going to do? CPR won't be invented for 120 years. So, for some bizarre reason, a woman's lifeless body was pulled out of the Thames. The doctor didn't know what to do. And then a passing sailor, I kid you not, this is the actual account. I don't know if he actually had a Scottish accent, but anyway, he said, "Hey, you should take some tobacco and blow the smoke up her bottom. I bet that'll do the trick." And the doctor, rather than going, "You drunkard, piss off," he said, "Well, that's a brilliant idea. Get some bellows, get some coals," and sure enough, and they stuffed the bellows into this poor unfortunate woman's behind, gave it a good old squeeze, and suddenly her eyes opened, it was like, "Bah!" And she was back. And so based on this revolutionary event, they thought, this is brilliant. I mean, there weren't red and white life preservers at the side of the Thames. No, there was special boxes with a set of bellows and a nice pot of tobacco and some matches. So in case of drowning, light this fellow and just insert, and then away you go. I mean, you've heard the term blowing smoke up somebody's ass. That's where it comes from. It's not just a random thing that people say. It's actually because you want to save a life. I mean, I similarly was thinking to myself, okay, in modern times, if someone doesn't want heroic measures to save their lives, then they put DNR across their chest. And so I imagine in that time period, if someone didn't want heroic measures to save their life, they'd probably have no smoking signs on their ass cheeks. I cannot confirm or deny that part of the story. That was not in my research. But anyway, that was... Where was I? Oh yes. And so, genuinely, for a large number of years, they still don't have those now, but that was an honest-to-goodness life technique. You can actually look that up. I mean, who in their right mind thought that was a good idea? It was just fluke that lady clearly was playing dead, or it was like, "Oh, I'm so sick of my husband, I'm going to fake my death." And then suddenly smoke shot up her bottom. She's like, okay. But anyway, that's... Okay, here ends the history lesson, but now on to another topic dear to my heart that has nothing to do with smoking. So, basically, I love a good freebie. I mean, the best price in the entire world is free 99. And I have a huge compulsion. I'll sign up for every free offer I can, and I get lots of free crap. I will sign up for it in multiple names and email addresses to get multiple free crap. But how do these free offers finance themselves? How on earth do they survive? The simple answer is they promptly sell your details on to other companies. Companies that don't take no for an answer, that don't take "I was in the toilet" for an answer, and won't take "Why do you keep calling me, you psychopath?" for an answer. And so yes, and because my mother doesn't embrace modern technology, she thinks that WhatsApp is voodoo. So I have to have my UK phone number to this day. And so I keep getting phone calls from companies trying to claim back wrongly sold insurance and stuff like this. And it would drive me to distraction. But then I thought to myself, we need to approach this differently. I mean, yes, they're probably used to verbal abuse. In fact, at one point I even pretended to be a forensic accountant to try and convince them there was no way I'd been missold insurance and was totally on top of my finances. They still didn't believe me. And so, I thought, enough is enough. We've tried hate, let's try love instead. And so, the last thing that a call expects is a romantic serenade. And so the next time I got one of these phone calls, and thankfully these phone calls all have a little signature, they're on like a relay exchange in wherever, and so you get like 3 seconds and then a little whoop noise, and then they connect you. So that for me was my warm-up time. So I'd hear, I'd see a weird number, I'd hear silence and then whoop, and I'd be like, okay, let's get ready. And then as soon as they said, "Hi there, this is claims for you. We'd like to help you with your wrongly sold insurance," then I immediately turn around and go, "The minute you walked in the door, I could tell you were a man of distinction, real big spender, good looking, so refined." They didn't let me get to the chorus. I mean, how rude is that? But yes, my calls from those companies dropped like a lead rhinoceros after that. Because they clearly were getting nowhere. You can't sell something to someone if they're busy singing at you. Hey, I mean, feel free to use that technique at your leisure. I mean, it works. It really, really works. Anyway, you guys have been wonderful, and thank you kindly.
One more round of applause for the one and only Andrew Fehrenbach.